Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a new video. I know it's been a while. I've been traveling and I've also been working on a lot of projects, and I wanted to actually make a video going over a recent client build that we did. Now, I'm going to tweak some things just to obviously respect their privacy. However, the concept is going to be the same. And I want to essentially marry two different elements. Everybody's talking about Claude Code, and obviously we have the staple or the foundation of a lot of stuff that we've built, which is N8N. So I wanted to essentially make a video combining both, and it's showing you how you can use Claude Code to create a lot of N8N automations within your client project so you get the best of both worlds. Because yes, while Claude Code is great, a friend of mine made a comment the other day, which I really love. And essentially what he said was, when you're using Claude Code for the entirety of your project, you're essentially relying on trust me bro technology. Or if you do not know how to read code, write code, you may not understand why it's doing what it's doing. And if you want to build production ready apps, it's really important you actually understand what's happening behind the scenes, which is why I'm still a big fan of using N8N as a foundation, and you use Claude Code as essentially the orchestrator to create your N8N automations. So in this video, I'm going to show you a client build, and essentially what it is going to be a voice agent that is set up for a bunch of different locations, and it'll be able to do a few things. Firstly, it'll be able to interact with customers, whether they're leads or existing customers. Secondly, it'll be able to provide availability for specific location, and this is probably the most important piece I want to show you. And third of all, it's actually going to send emails or notifications based on what happened during that call. So if it's a new customer who needs a callback, I'll get notified. If it's a customer service request, I'll get notified. And if it's nothing at all, it'll just pass under the radar until the next customer. So without further ado, let's jump straight in. Okay, so what you're looking at here is N8N, and our first action item is going to use Claude Code to actually create our N8N automations. Now, I'm going to try to show this as raw as possible, because what I want you to take away from this isn't necessarily the automations themselves, it's my way of approaching it. So first thing I'm going to do is, if you don't have Claude Code already installed, it's pretty simple. There's a bunch of videos on how to do it. I use VS Code because I have found it to be the simplest, and it's what other people have showed me. I'm going to open up VS Code here, and I'm going to put up a brand new folder, a brand new window. I'm going to open a terminal here. I'm going to go into Claude. All right, and the folder I've got here, let me open up a brand new one. Cool. All right, so I've got Claude open on my VS Code in a brand new folder. And first thing I want to do is essentially give it a bit of context as to what I'm trying to do. And I'm going to see what Claude gives me back. And then we're going to sort of tweak it from there. I already know the type of setup that I want. I want my voice agent to run on Vappy because I'm very familiar with Vappy and I've made a bunch of videos on it. I want my backend to be run on N8N because I don't want to deal with hosting and any of that. And N8N is great at that. And I want my emails to go to my Gmail. That's about it. Also, lastly, and most importantly for the specifics of this build, I'm aware that my locations use Google Calendar. So everything that I just said, I'm essentially going to repeat it back over to Claude Code. I'm using an app called Whisperflow for this. Hey Claude, so I want to build a client project if you wouldn't mind. I've got 3 locations. All of my locations are currently being used on Google Calendar, but it's kind of a mess. And I want you to help me build a voice agent that will live on Vappy. We'll use N8N as the backend automations, and obviously we'll connect to my Google Calendar for all 3 of my locations so that people can call in, they can request appointments, they can open up a customer service ticket if needed, and I want this obviously through voice. I want you to keep this simple. Let's not go too crazy. I want to start with essentially a V1, and then I will go and build on it. And the first thing I want you to do is actually come up with the automations that need to work in the backend on N8N for this to work. So we'll start backend first, then we'll create the Google Calendars, then we'll create a voice agent to essentially tie it all in together. And I've just given essentially Claude what I'm trying to do. And all I really need to do after this is press enter. And then I'm just going to wait. So just for context, I am now essentially in the planning mode in Claude Code, which is super cool. And I want to simplify a little bit of the scopes here, but this gives you a really good look into where you could take this. So in this case, it's telling me about booking. It's looking about canceling an appointment as well, which is all great. However, for the particular use case, I don't really need it to cancel anything or to look up anything. I just want it to give me availabilities. And if somebody does want to book one, I want to get notified first because I just don't trust the system well enough as is. I will work my way up to that. Because keep in mind, once you've connected this to your Google Calendar and you know how to do it, booking, canceling, rescheduling, etc., all that becomes way easier once you have the foundations set. So a couple of things that you did right. Checking availability, absolutely. Here's where I don't want though. I don't need you to book anything. If somebody wants to book something, that should essentially send me an email saying, hey, look, here's a time that they want. Here's a location that they want. Call them back to confirm. I don't need you to reschedule or cancel or look up. And the customer service ticket is a feature that I do want. So let's keep that. And to answer the question that you sent over to me, the locations, we'll put them in the prompt. Just use placeholders for now. Service duration, just put regular Monday to Friday hours. And tickets destination, I will provide you an email. I do not want a Google Sheet. I will simply provide you an email, and that will be in the N8N automation that will notify me of a new ticket. As you can see, I'm really trying to restrict the scope. It's actually a mistake that I see a lot of people do, which is they will start with these huge automations that are super complicated and they'll never end up putting anything into production. So as somebody who's deployed quite a few of these agents, take it from me that deploy a version 0.1 and iterate. You will make it much further, much quicker than trying to come up with the perfect product on the first go. This is essentially all you really need to keep doing. I'll talk to Claude. I'm trying to give it essentially my entire project. And then once it's done, or once it's confident that it knows exactly what I'm trying to do, it's going to give me my N8N workflows back that I can then dump into N8N, and I can then connect with Vappy, my Google Calendar, and call it a day. So now give me a revised plan. So I'm going to go ahead and answer these questions and we'll see what it comes back with. You can use this email address, taha@promptadvisors.com. One email for everything is fine, and the business hours look good. And what's really cool about Claude Code is it'll actually ask you, hey, look, here's a plan I came up with. Do you agree with it? Do you want to change anything? And on and on. And now it gave me essentially a plan. Usually, whenever it does this type of thing, I just press yes, accept all edits, and I just see what it ends up coming back with. It gave me a bunch of workflows. Let's actually open these up in N8N. If you're not familiar with doing this, all you have to do is click on these. I can copy and actually paste the entire thing in here, and we'll see what it is. So this says webhook, resolve inputs, get all events, compute free slots, and then respond. So let's see what actually happens. Resolve inputs. Okay. And now, while I could sit here and try to understand exactly what this resolve input is meant to do, I can just ask Claude what it expects for me to actually provide here so I can test it. I want you to give me test data for each of these so that I can then put them in Postman to see what comes back. I want you to give me simple test data that I can use in Postman alongside these webhooks to see what actually comes back from these. So now what I'm going to do, since it gave me a bunch of test data, I'm going to go into Postman and just test this. Now, you don't necessarily need to do this. I'm simply showing you because one of the things that I've noticed, especially in our community, is your ability to dissect issues into the smallest component actually will help you resolve them. So for example, if this didn't work, well, I want to know, did it not work at the voice agent level, or was there a technical error in the way we configured our system? Now, by approaching it in this manner and actually testing stuff on Postman first, I can bypass a lot of that stuff because I know that the technical configuration is correct. It's probably the voice agent that's wrong. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to put check availability, post webhook. Now, if you're not familiar with Postman, I just use it because I get to test out specific APIs super easily. You can use a bunch of different softwares for this. Postman is probably just the most known. And once you're finally logged into Postman, all you have to do is I'm going to use the post way or the post methodology because we are sending data. And then let me see, I'm going to go into body, I'm going to put raw, and I'm actually just going to tell Claude to make me some requests. Actually, what I really want is I'm currently in Postman. Just make me some demo requests that I can make. So now that I've gone to Postman, I'm going to go back into Claude and I'm simply going to check what it says here. So method post, we've already done that. And then I'm going to go in here. It says while editing. So let me go into N8N for a second. And I'm going to take this webhook right here, which is check availability. So I believe that's the first one. I'm going to take this, listen test event. Actually, give me that. I'm going to go back in here. Go back into Postman, and then I'm going to paste that there. Then I'm going to send something. Now, it should come back with an error 200, okay. Even though I didn't send anything, I just wanted to make sure that it actually works. So if you see code 200 here, that means it works. Now, next up is, as it says here, we need a real Google Calendar ID. So let's actually get those. And the simple way to do that is I'm going to go back into my Postman. I'm going to go into get events. I'm going to sign in with Google. Select all. By the way, this is one of the reasons why you use N8N. Authentication is just so much easier. Like doing this through another method would actually require you to go into the Google Cloud Console and all this stuff. But now I've got my Google Calendar connected like that. Okay, so now that I've connected my Google Calendar, I should, if I actually execute step, I should at least get some sort of calendar in here. Resolve inputs. Okay, so here's the thing. I just want this. Don't want the entire thing. And now I need my Google Calendar ID. So if I go in here, display this only, I go settings and sharing. And at the top of my bar, I should see an actual calendar ID. So now when I go and put that into my workspace, if I were to go put that in location A, I'm going to copy this because this is the body of the request. I'm going to paste that back in here. However, instead of location A, I need it to say this one. I'm now going to go back into N8N. I'm going to test this again, listen for test event. I'm now going to press send over here, and then it should have received my ID right there. Okay, cool. So now if I were to use this in here, it gave me an error. Because what is it trying to do? Where's location A? Replace with calendar ID A. So this one actually needs to be this location right here. So what's cool about N8N is you can sort of drag and drop stuff. So now that I know that this thing needs to show up right there. Now I'm going to essentially give this over to Claude and tell it, hey, look, technically the person who's actually requesting this stuff, they might not know. Or I guess I could just use all three. I'm also going to make these calendars public just because that'll make it easier for me to actually query them. Now, if I get this shareable link, I'm going to do calendar ID here. Now, what I'm actually going to do is literally just ask Claude, where do I get these calendar IDs? Because I want to be able to test it. So where do I get these calendar IDs? All of them are under the same Gmail account. I created essentially 3 calendars, the main one, and then I created 2 new calendars. One of them was called location 2, the other one's called location 3. I just want to know, where do I get the calendar IDs? And now I just let Claude do its thing again. And just like that, for the 2 custom calendars, location 2 and location 3. So this is essentially what the location map is going to look like. Cool. So now that I know that, I'm now going to go into my Postman. I'm going to go back into N8N, and location A is going to be equal to my email. I think that's right. Then location B, like it says here, is I'm going to go into settings and sharing. I guess we don't need to make these public in that case. Integrate calendar. This is the calendar ID we were looking for. Beautiful. All right. I'm going to take that. I'm going to go back into N8N, and I'm going to paste it right here. And then the same thing with the other one. So that was location 2. Now we'll go to location 3, calendar ID, go back into N8N, and that should resolve that. So now if I test this, it should at least give me a different error. Unknown location ID. No, it's still not giving me this. If I click in here, I think it's also what I sent it didn't work. Yes. This, testing 1, 2, 3, gmail.com. I'm going to go back in here. Obviously, I just resent a different one. Now, this gave me okay. If I now go to this one, let's see what happens. It doesn't like it for some reason. Expected one of. Oh, this is actually meant to be. And what's cool about whenever this stuff sort of breaks on you anywhere like this, all I got to do is I just copy all of this stuff. And I'm like, hey, Claude, this is what I gave you. It's not working. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. This is what I gave you. I followed your instructions and it's not working. It's giving me an error of unexpected. Now, let's see what happens. And this is now just another waiting game. So, okay, so it's just giving me some updates I need to make. In this case, its location map is going to be changed to this, which I feel like I already did. Oh, okay. I think I see what's wrong. So it's actually not this. It's actually meant to be, this is looking for, it's supposed to say location A, location B. Aha. Now here, if I do location underscore A, and I do send here, press send. Now, if I go in here, cool. So now it essentially gave me this one, and now all I need to do is actually replace this. Let's see, what location is this looking at? This is not looking anywhere. So if I simply do testing 1, 2, 3 at gmail.com, execute step, now it'll give me the calendar ID. Cool. So now if I press on the next step, get events, it gave me an issue because no, doesn't have any credentials set, even though I did. Okay, so it actually did retrieve. No fields, items, but they're empty. Interesting. So nothing came back, which is good. That means there were no events. So this is working so far. Let's actually test if it's working. So what I sent over was duration of 30 minutes on May 5th. Now, what I want to see is if I actually put something on May 5th, I'm going to put this test event, press save. If I run the exact same node again, will it actually bring it up? It did, which is super cool. So it found it from 12 to 145, which I think with the time zones and everything, 12 to 145. Amazing. So we know that it actually can get events. Now here's what I want to test. If I put a different calendar ID, will it get this event? I'll go back in here, and I think we already put the calendar IDs. I'm going to go back in this specific resolve input, and I'm going to replace these with the original, or with the calendar IDs that we were looking at earlier. So if you'll recall, I'll go in here. I'm going to go settings, and then to location 2. Should be a location calendar ID. Beautiful. Go back in here. I'm going to replace this with it, and I'm now going to, I don't need to save it. All I need to do is change this. So instead of saying location A, I'm just going to say location B. Now, if nothing comes back, then this works. So I'm going to wait for this again, list for test event. I'm going to press send. Then, now that we've essentially sent location B, let's once again resolve these inputs. Let's get all the events. And if we've done our job correctly, this should be empty. Beautiful. So we know this works. Amazing. We're making progress. Now, compute free slots based off of that, which this should give me a bunch of free slots, 11, 9, etc. And then I have all of these that are then going to be sent back over into our agent. Perfect. All right. We're making progress. Now, that is workflow number 1. Hopefully by now, the automations are starting to get clear on how to actually work with Claude Code within N8N. Next thing on the list, I'm going to go back to Claude Code, and let's look at where did we leave off. What was the second one? That was the first one. Go back into request appointment, and this is number 2. I'm going to go ahead and copy this, go back into N8N. I'm going to create a brand new automation. Publish this first. I'm going to create a brand new automation. Now this one is the request appointment, which is just going to be another tool that we're going to call on Vappy. And it's pretty straightforward. All I'm going to do, request appointment, webhook comes in, we format the email, that's fine. We send ourselves an email, and then we send ourselves a webhook. And just to sort of keep up the pace, lastly, we have create a ticket, which I'm going to go ahead and update all of these. And by the way, you'll have access to these auto workflows. Create another one. The most important thing and the hardest one was the availability checker. Now, this is going to be formatting an email. So what we're going to do now is, because we have all 3 automations, I'm going to go into Vappy, and we're now going to create the tools for it, as well as buy a phone number, create the prompt. And I'm not going to do any of this. I'm going to tell Claude to help me with it. I'm going to go back into our Claude code, and now I'm going to tell it, All right, cool. So I've got all of my N8N automations. Next step is I now want to go into Vappy and I want you to help me write a prompt that uses all these tools. And I also want you to give me the exact things that I need to put in my tools to make sure that the automations work every time. Use your best prompting skills to come up with a really good personality. This is meant for demo purposes, and so just use sample data as you believe is appropriate, and let's make the best agent that we can. So once again, I'm going to go back and start thinking about the best ways to approach this, and in a minute or two, we should have pretty decent prompt for Vappy. All right, and just like that, it came up with an entire prompt. It also came up with all the tools that we're going to need. So let's go through them one by one. If I look on the left-hand side, I see we have 2 new files, Vappy system prompt, and if I read through this, and feel free to pause and read through it on your own. To be clear, it says, today's date is now. Always use this to resolve relative dates like tomorrow, next Tuesday, that's fine. You are Robin, the voice receptionist for Bright Smile Dental, a group of 3 friendly neighborhood dental practices. You answer the phone for all 3 locations. And it goes on and on about how to behave. The most important thing is this area right here. You have 3 tools. Firstly, check availability. Secondly is the request appointment. And third is the create ticket. That's all it does, right? There's no complicated post-call automation, nothing of that sort. It is meant to help customers book appointments and create tickets if necessary. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to follow what Claude Code told me, and I'm going to go into Vappy and just create some tools. I'm going to go into Vappy. I'm actually going to sign in. Okay, cool. Now that I'm in Vappy, I'm going to go into assistants, and I'm going to basically create a brand new assistant. I'll leave it blank. Let's call it Bright Smile. Create assistants, and I'm just going to follow what Claude Code told me. If I go in here, it says name. That's fine. First message. Okay. I'm also going to put model generated message. Here's the full content. So I'm going to go in here, copy all of this. This is the prompt. Paste that there. Beautiful. Now, next up, what do I got to do? Change the model. Here it says GPT-4o, but I'm probably just going to put like the latest one. So I like GPT 5.2 Instant. I found it to have the best balance between speed and price. So 5.2 Instant is fine. Temperature, I can leave that as is. Voice provider, it's not super relevant right now. Silence timeout. And obviously, since this is for demo, I want to keep this as short as I can because this video is already long enough. And then if I put the now thing, that's fine. 3 tools. That's the most important. So to create tools in Vappy, in case you've never done it before, I'm just going to go in here. First of all, I'm going to press publish on this. And then I'm going to go into the tool section, which I can do by scrolling down, and then it's going to give me the option to create more tools. This one I am going to call check availability, and then what was the other one? Type function, name description parameters in JSON, copy from tool 1 into JSON. I don't know why it's being so lazy. So sometimes you'll see it doing stuff like this, where like, just give me what I should put. So I'm just going to tell it, I don't know why you're being lazy. Give me the description of the tools that I need to use. Don't just tell me copy and paste from this other place. Be clear in your instructions. Now, it's essentially going to output me whatever is required in those instructions. This is much more like it. So now that it gave me all of this, I can now check description. I'm going to go back into Vappy, paste the description here. The request URL, this I'm going to get from N8N. So this is check availability, N8N, personal. I'm going to go ahead and take this webhook. Make sure you take the production one, especially, if it's going live. Go back into Vappy, post request, and then do I need anything in the body? Let's see here. Looks like I need a couple of them. So I'm going to go ahead and actually fill all of these out. Location, string description. And then enum. This is actually a pretty cool feature in Vappy that I believe is fairly recent. But essentially, you can force it to pick one of the certain specific values, right? So I'm going to call these location A, location B, and location C. Essentially, what this means is when it's calling this tool, it will only pick from these specific values. But required, press apply. Now I'm just going to go ahead and add the rest of these. And this is also required. Description is this, required, apply. I'm then going to press another add property description, and this is duration in minutes. I believe there's a default thing for this one. There is no default. Type number. Okay. I believe this is also required. I'm going to press apply. Type 2, request appointment, and tool 3, create ticket. So now once you've gone ahead and done all of those 3, all you want to end up doing is I'm going to go back into my assistant. And what I want to know is, will it actually call this tool? So I'm going to go ahead and turn on my check availability. To be respectful of your time, I'm not going to go through every single one. But what I want to make sure this actually works, I'm going to go back into N8N, close this out. I'm going to turn all of these on. And now, for example, check availability was the most important one. Now that I have my agent here, let's actually talk to it and see what happens.
Good morning. Thanks for calling Bright Smile Dental. This is Robin at the front desk. How can I help you today?
Hey, Robin, how's it going?
I'm sorry. Can you tell me a little more about what wasn't done? Was this about an appointment,
I was saying,
a treatment, or something with...
Okay, that transcriber is complete garbage. Let me use a different one.
Good morning, Bright Smile Dental. This is Robin. How can I help you today?
Hey there, how's it going?
Hi there. I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. How can I help you today?
I wanted to know, do you guys have any open slots tomorrow?
I can definitely check that for you. Which location are you looking for?
Let's do location.
Downtown, West Side, or... Sure thing. Which one is closest to you? Downtown, West Side, or Northgate?
Well, I've got, I want you to search up for location A.
Got it. Downtown. What are you coming in for? A cleaning, checkup, something else? And just to confirm,
sorry, say that again?
No problem at all. For the downtown location, what kind of appointment are you looking for? A cleaning, a checkup, or something else? And just to be clear, when you said tomorrow, that would be May 6th. Is that right?
No, tomorrow will be May 4th, actually, because it's 8 p.m. I know it's a little late. And as far as why I'm coming in, I just want to do a cleaning.
Got it. Thanks for explaining. Just to make sure we're on the same page, I'm showing today as May 5th, so tomorrow would be May 6th. Does May 6th work for you? And we're looking at a cleaning at our downtown location, right?
Yes.
Tool, check availability, arguments, location, locationa, date, 20263506.
If you're building this, don't be an idiot. I'm now realizing that I never attached the tools. Check availability is the tool I meant to ask. And while I'm here, I'm also going to improve the time location thing. And I'm also not going to do it myself. I'm going to go back into Claude and I'm going to tell it, this is great. However, it's currently May 4th where I'm at. It's pretty late. It's almost 8 p.m. And when I said I want an appointment for tomorrow, it said, oh, well, that'll be May 6th, but it's not. So it has to be aware that we're using Eastern time zone. So now it should essentially improve the prompt to calibrate itself to make sure that it's using the right time. Cool. Now I'm just going to take this prompt. I'm going to go back into Vappy. I'm going to update it here, press publish, and then let's try it again.
Good evening. Thanks for calling Bright Smile Dental. This is Robin at the front desk. How can I help you today?
Hi there. I want to check whether or not you guys have availabilities tomorrow. Let's do for location A. I want to come in for a cleaning.
Got it, Sas. Tomorrow is Tuesday, May 5th at our downtown office. I've got a few openings for a cleaning. 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., or 1 p.m. Do any of those work for you?
Beautiful. Okay. Thank you very much. Your job is now complete. As you saw, it called a tool, and then this is what came back, which is why it gave me all these availabilities. Now, it didn't give me every single one, which I'm sure I could just update with the prompt. My whole point here is, as you saw, what I'm trying to show you is this entire system was built mainly with Claude Code telling me what to do. I didn't have to do very much. I just asked it what I wanted to do, and it improved this. Time zone, Claude Code. The right automations at N8N, Claude Code. Hopefully you can see how much more powerful and how much faster I was able to create this agent that actually works really well. It sounds super good. It doesn't call tools unnecessarily. We have unlocked so much potential now with Claude Code, especially with the combination of N8N, which I really like because I get to see what's actually happening in the backend. Because we could have done this without N8N. However, I just like having a visual interface that shows me the exact calls that were made. Also, the authentication is obviously a big plus. On that note, I'm going to stop this video here. It's already been going on for quite a while. Hopefully this was a good starting point to understand how you can use these tools to actually build client projects without necessarily having to know how everything works. Because my whole objective here was teach you how to fish instead of just giving you the fish. Hopefully you got some value out of it. I'm going to try to make more content, but obviously we got a lot going on at the moment. If you like this video, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much.